performative males are, it's a call out. It's been very interesting. The trend emerged and almost immediately became kind of castigated. You know, like woke had an opportunity to be a legitimate term before it was a satirical term. Performative males have almost immediately become satirized. Performative male is a guy with floppy hair, sort of oversized flared jeans. He's got a tote bag. He's reading some sort of literary fiction. He's got a matcha. He's not quite like a cinnamon roll boyfriend husband thing.
Is this not just the new soy boy?
Maybe it might be kind of like an elevated hipster, like a soft boy archetype, perhaps from sort of the late 2010s. It might be the equivalent of women wearing like football shirts or Pink Floyd t-shirts, or like kind of like the male. Imagine the male equivalent of a pick-me, but it's stripped of most of the raw, aggressive, kind of more masculine, more domineering.
So let me, like, if I were to speculate, I would say this is the kind of guy who might employ the sneaky fucker mating strategy.
So this is why it's becoming, I think, immediately satirized. I think it's
Louise,
like,
of course, knows what I mean.
Of course I do, yes.
It's poorly hidden, pliable male mating tactics being called out very quickly.
Actually, interestingly, I'm not sure how well this maps to performative males, but I remember discovering very interestedly discovering just how high the proportion is of male feminists who subsequently end up being Me Too'd as sex pests.
I remember you writing this piece.
Yeah. I think the lawyers just
high.
4 paragraphs.
Yes.
Because they weren't sufficiently well, because they were just rumours, and it was just I think.
Well, allegedly, we must remember that allegedly. Yeah.
They gutted the article, but really the pattern is strong enough that even if you don't name names, it's a thing. So these guys are. They're sort of droopy and feminized in presentation.
Flaccid men.
At least in presentation.
But heterosexual.
But heterosexual.
Yeah. And the performative males being this, I think it's...
Is it the one guy who comes to Pilates with you and then just like tries to hit on you?
We're getting close there. We're getting perilously close to like what would have been the sneaky fucker male feminist. The performative male, I think it's as much an aesthetic as anything else.
Okay.
So it might be the aesthetic. Basically, it might just be a rework of the aesthetic of the sneaky fucker.
What does he read?
I'm not too sure what he would be reading.
Read?
Yasmin. She left. She's my source of sneaky fucker info because she's in LA. But it would be him. Sort of matcha in hand. He's the male embodiment of a matcha drink.
So does he read Sarah J. Maas? I think this is what I'm trying to figure out.
What it reminds me of is the 70s, when you had the men simultaneously embracing long hair and free love and whatever, and being quite feminine and dodging the draft and stuff. So on the one hand, being anti-masculine, but then fully embracing the post-sexual revolution opportunity to get women into bed. And feminists at the time complained about this. What it sounds like, though, is that the performative male adds a layer of like consumerism, which is quite distinctively 2025. Is that right?
I think you've nailed it. Yeah, with the tote bag, with the dress, with the hair.
Yeah.
I mean, what
a Labubu on his bag?
Almost certainly Labubu. Actually, that's a better way to put it. If you could find
Labubu
a Labubu
males.
with a matcha, it's Labubu males. Yes, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, I said one of the sort of depressing thoughts that crossed my mind the other day. When you think about these sort of like this sort of noodle-armed male phenotype, with a Labubu on his bag and a matcha in his hand, and maybe he actually literally does read Sarah J. Maas. And I think about them, and you think about, do I need to wait a moment?
It's okay. I just the way that you construct sentences, I can't keep a straight face. It's fucking brilliant. Okay, go on.
But I mean, these kind of these stop.
Sorry. I'm sorry. So okay. Yeah, Labubu man.
Yeah. So Labubu guys. What if, in fact, they're more evolutionarily fit in the context of what a working
they fucking
environment?
adapted to the new environment.
That's what I mean. Because it's like when you think about the kind of work that everyone actually does now, and when you think about the kind of social environments that particularly knowledge class people of either sex have to operate within, actually being the kind of high tea, aggressive.
You're not sitting still in class.
Not sitting, those guys get medicalized and pathologized basically because they don't work in open plan offices.
Question on this. Is this as close as a man can get to being female whilst still being reproductively viable for females to find attractive?
Yeah, but
and given that females have got this advantage socioeconomically in the education and in the workplace. this is like
Yeah.
the new, it's, and also I want to talk about Me Too at some point today. I wonder if this is the sort of post-Me Too acceptable, what men think, even though incorrectly. I've been told, do not be domineering, do not be too forthcoming, do not be somebody that could make women feel threatened in any way. What's the least threatening Labubu, tote bag, floppy hair, matcha drink?
It's very HR friendly.
Yeah, and I do get the impression, like, there's a lot of guys, particularly those who are sort of, socialized into a more sort of progressive kind of thought world, who genuinely feel very distressed by the sort of heighty, aggressive male disposition. I just finished reading a book. I mean, it's a good book, very interesting piece of work by an ecological economist on care and the sort of Cinderella economy, as he puts it, of care and maintenance and systemic health and environmental sustainability and so on, which he sees as being, again, strip-mined, exploited, and ultimately exhausted by the quote-unquote real economy that we now have. And in it, he has a whole chapter about the patriarchy, which I just found a really interesting read from a guy who's, he's a successful guy, and he's got adult children, and he's obviously sporty and fit and intelligent, well-read, and so on. So, like, perfectly manly man within the terms of modern respectable liberal society, but he's furious about the patriarchy, and the passage I found most interesting is he has a little discussion about Daphne du Maurier's novels, and Jamaica Inn particularly, and Rebecca, and he talks, his reading of Daphne du Maurier is as a feminist, that it's a critique of gender relations between the sexes, and particularly of the chronic kind of vulnerability of women to male violence. But at one point he observes that du Maurier's female characters are both vulnerable to male violence and also kind of turned on by it. He doesn't quite put it like that. But there's obviously a real ambivalence in the way she writes, and he doesn't know how to process it. And I find that really interesting, just in the context of thinking about how the Labubu man presents. I'm not suggesting that the author of this book is a Labubu man. He's not quite that, but there's something really interesting going on there about, guys who've internalized the idea that to be a straightforwardly aggressive man in a style, in a perhaps quote unquote old-fashioned style or more overtly patriarchal is bad, and that puts you in continuity with Andrew Tate and other people who are bad, which is obviously by definition. And therefore we must be something which is softer and more consensual and more kind of Labubu-ish, or I don't know, something.
Circling back to Chris's opening question, is it possible that everyone's having less sex because of the Labubu male? But seriously, maybe we do need
crossed my mind sometimes too.
We need more polarity.
Sometimes we don't realize how far we've come until we stop and look back. The struggles, the sleepless nights, the small victories no one noticed, they all added up piece by piece to bring you right here to this moment. And maybe today's video reminded you of something familiar, a dream you're still chasing, a mistake you've made, or a lesson that life tried to teach you in the hardest way possible. We all fall, we all fail, and we all have days when we don't see the point anymore. But somehow, we keep going. Because deep down, there's a small voice that whispers, this can't be the end. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about learning, unlearning, breaking, and rebuilding again and again. Maybe that's what growth really means. Not racing ahead, not proving something to the world, but finding peace with where you are, and still having the courage to move one step further. If this video made you pause, even for a second, take that as a sign to breathe, to think, to feel. Drop a comment below and share what this moment meant to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because your story matters too. And if you found a little light here today, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps more than you know. Subscribe to stay connected, because every story we share here carries one reminder. You're not alone, and your journey still has chapters waiting to be written. Until next time, take care of your heart, your dreams, and your fire. Keep going, slowly, quietly, but with purpose. You're doing better than you think.